Hey folks, I'm here at Black Hall Outfitters. Ted are gonna help me rig. What are we rigging, guys?
BigWater 132 paddle kayak.
Okay, so this is the one that that doesn't have pedal or motor or anything there. We're gonna put the Torqeedo Ultralight bracket there, which is gonna be a little bit challenging, but we think we can get a, I'm gonna put this there, get a hatch there so that we can get our 4-bolt pattern there. And I looked at where the foot pegs were. If we're replacing the existing, you know, ones that stay put with the ones that slide, I actually looked at this and I said, that's going to be a little bit of a problem with my size 15 boot catching on this, you know, this part of the, you know, the latch here. So we're going to move this, instead of putting it there where the original one was, we're going to jump up a level so that I will have the range of rotation with this sliding foot peg. Looks like we already have some tubes run, so we may or may not use this, I'm not sure. I got to look at the geometry of the spectra coming across and connecting with that. I don't want it to rub, although I don't think there's anything sharp there. Yeah, let's dive in. Let's start rigging this, guys.
Right on.
Good. So I'm a little envious of your Dremel setup here. Like, you have all the cool tools. What do you think you're going to use to cut that round hatch hole?
I'm going to use this little angled bit here.
Okay.
Just a little safer than the saw in my experience. Takes a little bit, tiny bit more time, but a little bit safer and makes a better hole in the end. I just made this template, used our hatch, put it down flat on a piece of cardboard, and then traced around the outside. That's going to enable me to draw a perfect circle on the kayak hull here. That way we'll know exactly where the outer diameter of the piece that actually goes through the hull is. We'll be able to cut a nice hole for that. So I'm just gonna make sure I have it lined up right in the middle, that I have equal distance from the edge on all sides. That looks pretty good right there to me. Thank you.
All right, and that's a clean, very symmetrical. Nice job.
Thanks.
We started collecting this. Like, this dust is super valuable for plastic welding. We hold on to that for later. If you drill some holes in there and then decide, no, I don't want that yak attack track here, I want it here. You know, you take the screws out, heat up that area with just a lighter or a torch, sprinkle some of that stuff on there, heat it again, mash it down with a putty knife, and it's watertight. So I'm going to finish collecting the rest of that. Good stuff.
Okay, so we just marked our holes for our 4-screw pattern. We set our bracket up and then threw the 1103 on the back just to make sure that our reverse lock would still engage and that we had enough of a gap back here. Now we're going to drill out those 4 holes, and we're going to put in 4 of these bolts using some washers and some rubber washers as a little bit of a gap stop there, just to get us up a little bit higher.
It's going to make it watertight for sure.
Yeah.
To have that as a gasket. We're doing this, we're not continuing with this just so we have enough room. Once you put the hatch in, it makes it tighter. I just figure it's easier to get your hand and your tools up in there before you put the hatch in. We'll go ahead and put the bracket on.
So we just bolted down our mounting bracket here. We got one rubber washer in between the bracket and the actual hull. That's going to give us enough space for clearance here, and it's going to waterproof our hull. We got nylock nuts on the back, as well as some stainless steel washers in there to hold everything nice and tight, and should be good to go.
Now we just gotta put our hatch on.
Yep.
Cool.
And are we changing the tubes?
I don't know yet. I have to think through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's let this sit. Let's attack the foot control steering because that has bearing on, are we keeping the tubes here or are we running new tubes there? I'd kind of like to use what we got, but
Mm-hmm.
I also want it to go, you know,
Less
to not have a
friction.
funky angle.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad, and this is not something that's going to really bother the Spectra. But
Yep.
let's mount them, and we'll take these off, mount that, and then kind of decide from there.
Cool.
But yeah, we will come back to that. Finishing that hatch. So it looks like we had a threaded insert here, but we had backing hardware here, another threaded insert there. You want to do some plastic welding for me, man?
Sure.
All right, let's grab that bag, and I'll let you just fill in that hole.
Cool. So this is a plastic welder. We actually get them from Hobie. So all you really do is you feed plastic rods into the top of this tool here. It heats up the plastic, and then you use the end piece to meld the plastic together with the existing plastic.
Wow.
So it'll heat up this whole little bronze part on the end, and then you'll use that to heat up the surrounding plastic and meld the new plastic in with the existing plastic.
Wow. Okay, so that's plastic welding on a level different than what I've done, which I usually use a flat screwdriver, a Bic lighter, and like some of the, the little shavings from drilling holes in there. If you want to know how to do that the low-tech way, if you don't have a Hobie welder, that's awesome. For sure, check out the playlist on the Little Stuff YouTube channel, Kayaks and Kayak Rigging. I have several plastic welding videos to help you with tools you probably already have. But I'm curious to see this thing in action.
So we'll just kind of use this same piece here. Just kind of press it in.
You're using it a little bit different because you don't have the
Yeah, I don't have the rods.
welding rods to feed into there.
Mhm.
And smush it. Smush the whole thing. Yeah, this is not a structural area. It just has to be watertight, and as long as you heat up both surfaces, should be good to go.
Just spread it in. Take a little bit back on.
Looks good, man. Watertight. Thank you.
Of course.
So Matt has joined us. You want to tell us what your role here is with Black Hall Outfitters?
Yeah, so I'm one of the managers at the BHO Westbrook shop, very tackle focused, mostly saltwater tackle. We get some kayaks on display there as well. And I run our social media page. Avid kayak fisherman myself, Old Town Pro staff guy, and do mostly saltwater kayak fishing.
Very cool. And you're going to do a little bit of social media on this install today, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to try and get some footage and get some stuff out and show folks some of the potential that these boats have when you rig them up.
Cool. All right, let's talk about placement of the track. Like I said, I didn't want anything sliding down here low where it would catch on the hatch. What are we thinking, man?
We're thinking we're gonna go up here.
Okay.
So that gives you plenty of clearance moving
Where
forward.
you get the forward throw at.
Yeah,
That
and
makes
then
sense.
coming back on this side, got plenty of space too. Go quite a ways before you start even coming close to hitting.
Okay.
And then our holes will line up pretty much perfectly with this little notched area here, and then we have plenty of space on this side for our other hole to line up right there.
All right. Let's drill some holes and put some hardware on.
Let's do it.
All right, so I let Ted jump ahead a little bit and went ahead and completed this side so you can see it ahead of time and then see how he did it. But this is what we got. It's in there. Go ahead and give me a little bit of motion. And, you know, we're looking at this. It angled down a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's definitely not rubbing on that. So, yeah, I think it's going to work. And then the forward throw, we got all that room up forward, so it's fully adjustable for, you know, a lot of different leg lengths. So we'll go ahead and let you do the other side, which we haven't done yet. See how that looks.
Alrighty.
Cool. So first you're putting that track in there and kind of matching where it's going to sit.
Yep, just gonna kind of line it up and make sure we got the same amount of distance here. It's about the width of my finger. Just line that up again. Make sure we're the same distance. Kind of lined up the bottom like that last time.
Do you use a center punch or anything to mark holes, or you just start drilling?
I used the Sharpie this last time.
Okay.
Because the hole is pretty much the same diameter, or the drill bit we're going to use is pretty much the same diameter of this hole, so I don't want to go through it.
Okay.
So instead I'm just going to make sure I have everything lined up exactly how I want it. And then I'm going to hold that nice and solid and draw a little circle right there. And I always make it so the hole that I'm going to drill, I want it to be right at the edge of this hole.
Okay.
That way I don't have to worry about it sliding a little bit one way or the other once I put it in. And then this hole will line up exactly with this one here.
Nice.
So now we're reusing the hardware that actually came with the original tracks, and then we're just adding in one of these stainless and rubber washers. So we'll just push that through there, and then we're going to go through this slotted hole. And then, like I said, I want to make sure it's all the way to this end. And then we're going to just line it up with that hole, give it a little push there, and then the holes we're drilling are 3/16, which are like a little bit smaller than these bolts. So that just makes it so we have to actually thread the hole when we go through, keeps it a little bit more watertight. So that'll hold that one in place, and then we're gonna take this nylock nut and we're gonna put that up on the inside here and tighten her down.
So you got like the needle nose vice grips in there?
Yep, I got them cranked on the back.
Yeah, these are the ones I use for running the tubes.
Yeah, to pinch the ends.
I can't tell you how nice it is though that we're able to use the existing tubes. I mean, I feel like the hardest part of this install was just getting the bracket on there.
Yeah.
You know, having access to that, and it's nice that there was an area for that round hatch.
Right.
This part is proving to be a little easier than normal. Back half on, let's go to the front half.
So on this side, I'm just going to mark my hole again. I'm trying to make sure the back of the track here is lined up with that little lip of the hull there, the little edge piece.
Yep.
And then I'm just following that straight over here. Same setup as before, our stainless steel hardware here with the rubber washer built into the back. And then again, the hole is just a little bit too small, so we're just going to get it lined up on the lip there, and then we're just going to screw it in. For this, I like to use a screwdriver rather than a drill, just because
You want to strip out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those that threading is really going to help with the keeping this watertight. So.
Yep.
And there we go.
Nice. So what do you think, man? Is that the outskirts of Hurricane Lee? You guys are getting that, what, this weekend?
Something like that, yeah. They're not totally sure yet, but pretty soon here.
Yeah. Well, show me what you got here. You've already attached the Spectra there.
Yep.
And run it through there.
We're running through the tubes that come standard on the BigWater, which is
pop
a nice
out
feature.
here on these little frog eyes.
Yep. And then we're just gonna do the same thing on this side. We're going through the carabiner there, and then we're just gonna make sure our pedals are all lined up there.
That's even.
Okay. So we're gonna fold it over. Just try to mirror what you've done on that side, Joe.
So I do a lot of coils.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you did up at the front, where you had like at least 6, is enough.
Okay.
But what this does is it gives me, if something cuts that, I have extra to tie a knot and do it on the water repair. So
it's definitely smart. So we're just looping this all the way back. So I went through the carabiner, back down, and then back up, and then you just start coiling around all 3 of those lines that you just created. So you're coiling around the 2 loops.
Okay.
We're gonna just coil all the way down.
Show me the loop. Move your thumb. Yeah.
So that's our.
That explains it to folks.
Yep. So we went through and then back down and then back up, and then we started coiling.
Back in the direction of the end of that loop.
Exactly. So I always hold the loop just to keep all the 3 lines tight together. And then we're just gonna coil, coil, and coil. And then we're gonna go around the back and then through our final little loop there. Right under there. I like to make it so there's just enough of a hole left to get your line through. That way,
Snug.
yeah, you don't end up loosening up the line when you tighten it up. So that's nice and tight there. Just gonna push this way, push that way, and then back that way again. It's tightened down.
Sweet. Then trim it and we got steering.
Yep.
Alright, let's clean up the hatch.
Alrighty.
We'll put the rest of that on there. And then we have, what's left? We're gonna grab probably a Yak Attack throttle mount. Yeah, I got one of those here.
We gotta run our deployment line and our reverse line.
You got some good stainless there.
Yep.
Cool.
Just found some nice stainless with some wider heads so they'll cover up the holes that we drill.
And no need for backing hardware on this. It's just going to grab the plastic with the right size, like pilot holes or something? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
You just match the bit to the width of the screw.
Yeah, I just got one that was smaller. Enough to drill a nice little pilot hole, but not enough that we're going to go over what the teeth of the screw has. It's got a nice rubber gasket on the back, so we won't have to worry about any water getting in there. Line that up, tighten it down. Line that up, tighten it down. Catch the loop, twist, and lock.
Beautiful. Alright, so we gotta do motor lift lines. I got a Harkin pulley right there to make that easy.
So 6mm?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. It's the right one.
Those are the ones that you told me about.
Yeah. It's what do they call it, a narrow single block.
Yep. Yep.
And I've had this one on a couple different boats and bought more along the way. Very smooth.
You got the nice upgraded triangle too. That's
Yeah, it's the Innovative Sportsman. Bulletproof steering triangle. The little bungee. We stick this back here, and I'm gonna mash it on there with the needle nose, just to make this kind of permanently on there. Start getting that sucker in. And what the bungee does, we're going to clip it to the other side when we put it on, but it's just, this is going to live there. But Ted, come around this side and you're going to see when we're using it, we just hook it on there. What that does is it tucks the motor forward. Ted, come top side and look at the reverse lock. So it makes it so that when this, you know, when the motor is tucked forward, it can reach that. Whereas sometimes you have water resistance, and if the teeth are just there, it'll miss it, and then you don't have the reverse lock. So this bungee just helps it reach up and grab it, and then you have the reverse lock. We're gonna run, I already put the Harken pulley at the top, this carabiner. We're gonna run it down to here. We're gonna probably put a Yak Attack tie-down eyelet there to route it around where I'll probably have my Yak Attack black pack there. And I wanna have the motor lift. Where am I gonna do it? I definitely want a rod holder there. I probably have like some sort of retractor, tool retractor there for my pliers. Maybe we just hard attach the motor lift there. But it helps to have, actually this may go in here, to have that kind of turnaround. Yeah, and I'll put the retractor on the other side. But basically having a pulley where the line comes forward, loops around that, and then I'll have a, you know, the motor lift cord right there. All right, so you're putting this is an aftermarket jam cleat, or cam cleat actually, and then I got the, this is what comes with the Ultralight 1103, but I've just added a different Harken pulley there. So the line's gonna come up and loop through there, and then we've kind of made our own handle. We'll see that in a minute. But you're just hard installing it there.
Yep.
Cool. So this stuff is the best. It's the cord that it comes with, and it is just super, super tough. We put it through this little tab and just do an overhand knot. That's the end of the line. And I have enough here to do both reverse lock and the motor lift. We're going to come up through here. What's nice about this, you know, I've put that aftermarket pulley on there, which is just so smooth. It's going to make the motor lift so much nicer. But when I take the motor off, this whole assembly is going to stay with it, and I could just take this off like that. Next, the end of it goes through this little loop here that's centered. And I've already put a Yak Attack tie-down eyelet through there, which just routes it around so you're not rubbing on in my case, it'll be a Yak Attack black pack. We're gonna go forward. We're gonna go to this little pulley. You can just run it through this and have it run on that. The pulley just helps it a little bit in terms of it's, you know, coming through smoother. And then I'm taking it in this direction on this aftermarket cleat. I will get this to the end, and we're gonna put a handle on there. I've actually made, we were just talking about it. Like, I just had it. Made a handle, put a handle somewhere, and I lose things all the time when I'm rigging. You know where it is? It's in my back pocket. All right, so I just took high density polyethylene rod and basically drilled drill a hole through it. You can do it with PVC pipe. You can find an old like kayak grab handle, all sorts of things that are better than what the motor comes with, which is this little nub, this little acorn size. We are going to use this for the motor lift, or not the motor lift, the reverse lock here in a minute. But we need a little bit more purchase. I'm just going to cut that about there. And I'm going to grab a lighter real quick. Yep, we're just going to heat that up, seal it. There. I should probably do it to the other end. That way it doesn't come unraveled with time. And just running that through. Overhand knot, nice and snug, cut really specific to this boat. And let's look at that motor come flying up in the back, right? So, nice high wind. And what I needed, you know, to stay up, I just have this cleat right here, and it'll hold it. And then when I want to deploy it again, pull it up, let it go. Perfect. All right, I'll let you do the. So this stuff is the best. It's the cord that it comes with, and it is just super tough. We put it through this little tab and just do an overhand knot. That's the end of the line, and I have enough here to do both reverse lock and the motor lift. We're going to come up through here. What's nice about this, you know, I've put that aftermarket pulley on there, which is just so smooth. It's going to make the motor lift so much nicer. But when I take the motor off, this whole assembly is going to stay with it, and I could just take this off like that. Next, the end of it goes through this little loop here that's centered, and I've already put a Yakatech tie-down eyelet through there, which just routes it around so you're not rubbing on the, in my case it'll be a Yakatech black pack. We're going to go forward. We're going to go to this little pulley. You can just run it through this and have it run on that. The pulley just helps it a little bit in terms of its, you know, coming through smoother. And then I'm taking it in this direction on this aftermarket cleat. I will get this to the end, and we're going to put a handle on there. Basically, drill a hole through it. You can do it with PVC pipe. You can find an old like kayak grab handle, all sorts of things that are better than what the motor comes with, which is this little nub, this little acorn size. We are going to use this for the motor lift, or not the motor lift, the reverse lock here in a minute. But we need a little bit more purchase. I'm just going to cut that about there. And I'm going to grab a lighter real quick. Heat that up. Seal it. There. And just running that through. Overhand knot, nice and snug, cut really specific to this boat. And let's look at that motor come flying up in the back, right? So, nice high wind. And what I needed, you know, to stay up, I just have this cleat right here, and it'll hold it. And then when I want to deploy it again, pull it up, let it go. Perfect. Okay, I'm working on the reverse line, which is going to go to one of these Yakatech tie-down eyelets, same as we did with the motor lift. That routes it around there. I'm going to do it with this here, and we actually hard installed the cleat there, and we'll have the little pull knob for the reverse lock. Ted, you're working on, looks like the Yak Attack Torqeedo throttle mount, right?
Yep.
So
Super simple. There's 2 holes on the bottom of this throttle. I'll just line it up with the 2 holes on the bottom of the plate, and then I'm just going to put the 2 screws that come in the package right in there.
And that started with, we put the data cable in the plug on the inside, and we squirted it with some WD-40 ahead of that, just to make sure that we have a good electrical connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a lock and load base here. So I actually use one of these on my inflatable that has an extra section of that so that I can swing it all the way up here when I stand up.
Yep, and they make an 8-inch as well, which is nice. Gives you a little extra length there.
And we got them rigged up. We got the throttle on there. Actually, Ted put that extra extension on there. We actually stole it off of a Omega Pro. I wanted it a little bit close to the seat. I actually put that Yak Attack 8-inch extension. I like it really close to the front corner. So, but yeah, throttle is set up. We got the kill switch on there, which you should never just leave it like that. It always needs to be attached to a life jacket, but I'm just showing you. Give me some steering with that. Get your hands on the, just give me some back and forth. It's smooth, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Not hitting that side at all.
Looks good, man. All right, I'm gonna step back. You can kill the motor and go ahead and give me a lift. Motor lift. Yep, that is working. We got our battery here. We got the reverse lock, which I kind of advocate against this, even though I just did it. But the reason why it doesn't come with a cleat, and we just put the motor lift cleat on there, is if you hit something and this is locked in there, you're going to damage probably that bar. I want to say probably, I know because I've done it intentionally in prototype testing. It'll bend this bar, or it'll bend the teeth of the what it clips onto. So, can we get this on the water?
Yeah,
rip some
let's
donuts?
do it.
All right. Looks good, man. So is that.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're here at the shop. We were rigging what? Just
It's our
your rigging
warehouse.
studio, right?
Yep.
Warehouse.
Yep.
Give me a tour of the shop, though.
So this is our old lime store. We're more kayak focused here, but we do carry a pretty wide assortment of mainly saltwater and some freshwater tackle. We have a lot of apparel for our brand Salty to the Core. It's been pretty big for us. We sell a lot of apparel. Got paddle boards on this side, a couple fully rigged display kayaks in here, autopilot. We've got a big wall of life jackets, yak gear over there, Yak Attack, couple combos here.
Nice.
Yep.
And you got somewhere right behind the shop to test drive any boat.
Yep.
Any boat they want, which is where we're headed next. Foot control steering is doing its job. Almost turning around within my own life. We'll test the reverse here in a second. Alright, so the motor is a 3 horsepower electric outboard with 105 pound thrust. The battery back here is a 915 watt hour lithium battery. It's waterproof. It only weighs 13.2 pounds. The whole setup is less than 40 pounds. So, you know, when you're going to compare it to other kayak motors, you got to look at what is the entire setup weigh. And being under 40 pounds really gives you a lot of mobility to drag into those creative access points. It also gives you that efficiency over longer runs, that you're not carrying a big amount of batteries with you. You know, a lot of extra weight. You want to save that capacity for fish and tackle, and if you're harvesting fish, for also carrying the fish back, so you can enjoy them. So I think it's a really cool setup. The data that you saw, the speed and range data, was not data that I collected here on this tidal water that has some shallow areas. I go to a deeper lake. It needs a certain amount of depth in order to get good clean data that isn't skewed by shallow water. You actually move slower in shallower water. But you also need, and you can see I'm being drifted into the dock periodically with the tide that's going out here. I do it on a lake so that I have good clean data that's not affected by tidal or river currents or wind. I do it on a day where there's no wind. We got the no wind today, but the data that you just saw was on a lake, and it's good, reliable, consistent data. I'm happy with the setup. I need to do a little bit more rigging myself, putting a depth finder on here and putting some more Yak Attack accessories, navigation lights, and so forth. If you want that sort of rigging done on your kayak, definitely stop by Black Hall Outfitters. Ted is an amazing rigger, does really clean stuff. If you want to learn how to do some of it yourself, my YouTube channel is The Little Stuff, and there's a playlist on kayaks and kayak rigging. But as I said, if you're unsure about your own rigging abilities, come to Black Hall. Black Hall Outfitters has everything you need, and they can put it together for you. Thanks for watching.